One of the key questions that we get asked about SharePoint is, what does it all mean? What does the terminology mean? And there's a few basic things you have to think about. You have to think about sites, libraries, lists, and folders. But really, a lot of people don't have to worry too much about it. The key thing to think about is a site might be like a physical building, like a department. So each site, you might have a site for each department, or you might have a site for a group of people, for example, a project team or other things there. So that's an easy way to think about sites. Then if you want to think about lists, everything in SharePoint is effectively a list. Even if it's a calendar, it's a list of events, it's a list of dates. If it's a document, it's a list of all or it's a document library, it's all the list of all the documents. So lists are just the way SharePoint organizes its data. And it's a bit like if you imagine an Excel spreadsheet, that's a list of lots of information. When you talk about folders, folders are exactly the same as they are if you're using a file system. So you can use folders as a logical grouping for documents, a logical grouping for any items you like, a logical grouping for tasks, you can put them within folders. But the added benefit of folders in SharePoint is that folders are effectively just another piece of metadata to sort of logically group data. So you can have multiple folders, so January, February, March, April, May, June, and inside them you might have month-end information for month-end accounts. But then with SharePoint, it's very clever. You can create a view that sort of makes those folders transparent and actually just shows the documents inside them as well. So folders in SharePoint are a very, very powerful way of organizing your data so it's very easy for users to understand, to see, and to quickly access and find what they want. And libraries are a really good way of, again, segregating your data. And just like the real word library, you go to a library to find information, that's sort of how you think about libraries in SharePoint as well. Different places to find different information. And it's slightly hard, I guess, to explain these very, very quickly. But actually, in real life, if you just think about you're going to create a site, and in the site you might have a couple of libraries, you might have a site for finance. In there you might have a library that deals with all the month-end information. Then you might have a library that deals with all the statutory information or all the other reporting information you have to do.